Welcome to the Folktale Project. This is Dan Schulz. Once again, we're in the United Kingdom this week, and today we're going to head off to Scotland for the Kintalen Changeling. There was, living in Kintalen, a woman who had a male child with neither the growth nor the bloom of other children of his age. From morning to evening, he would not cease 1 minute from crying, and he would eat far more food than was natural for the like of him. It was harvest, and there was not a person on the farm who could draw a sickle but was out on the reaping field, except the mother of the child. She, too, would have been out, were it not for fear that the nasty screaming thing would break his heart crying if she would leave him in the charge of any other person. It happened that there was at the time a tailor in the house making clothes. The tailor was a shrewd, observant man, and he was but a short time within the house until he became suspicious of the lad in the cradle. "You," he said to the woman, "may go to the reaping, and I will take care of the child." The woman went away, but she had barely taken her feet over the threshold when the withered object she had left behind began shrieking and crying loudly and sorely. The tailor listened to him a good while, keeping his eye on him, till he was sure that he was nothing but a changeling. He now lost patience with him, and cried in a sharp, angry voice, "Stop that music, lad, or I'll put thee on the fire." The crying ceased for a while, but afterwards it began a second time. "Art thou at it again, piper of the one tune?" said the tailor. "Let me hear that music any more from thee, and I will kill thee with the dirk." When the fairy beheld the frown on the tailor's countenance, and the dirk in his hand, he took such a fright that he kept quiet a good while. The tailor was a cheerful man, and to keep from wearying, he began to hum a tune. In the middle of the music the ugly elf raised a loud howl, but if he did, he was not allowed to go on with this warble but a very short time. The tailor leaped off his work-table, went, dirk in hand, over to the cradle, and said to the fairy, "We have enough of that music. Take the right great bagpipes and give us one good tune on them, or else I'll put the dirk in thee." The fairy sat up in the cradle, took the pipes which he had somewhere about him, and struck up the sweetest music the tailor had ever heard. The reapers heard it on the field, and instantly dropped their sickles and stood listening to the fairy music. At length they left the field, and ran in the direction whence the music came. But before they reached the house the tune had ceased, and they knew not who played it, or whence it came. When the reapers returned home in the evening and the tailor got the mistress of the house alone, he told her everything that had happened while she was at the reaping, and that her child was nothing but a changeling. He then told her to go with him to the Ardshiel side of the bay, and to throw him out into the loch. She did as was told her, and as soon as the nasty little elf touched the water, he became a big, grey-haired old man and swam to the other side of the bay. When he got his foot on dry land, he cried to her that if he had known beforehand what she was going to do, he would have made her never think of doing such a thing again. She returned home and found her own child at the door before her, hale and sound. And that is the Kintalen Changeling, from James McDowell's Folktales and Fairy Lore in Gaelic and English. This clearly is the English side of this particular collection that had English on one side and Gaelic on the other. And in it we have a pretty standard changeling tale. Although I do like that the tailor is able to very quickly see through the guise of the elf in the story, and doesn't necessarily turn the tables on him directly, but empowers the mother to be able to go ahead and make everything right again. And I like that. This is Dan Scholes for the Folktale Project. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. You can also follow us on Twitter at Folktale Project. You can find us on Auto Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere that you like to listen. And you can always head over to folktaleproject.com, where you'll find a new story waiting for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And thank you so much for listening.